Okay. Sixth period, we did the beginning part of this. Everybody else, if you're watching this, if you were out, we had a tornado warning, so we didn't get to finish class. Anywho, all right. We have two sections and a test before the end of the school year. Our first is easy diamonds. I wanted to start this one out with having you guys kind of remember, what does it mean to multiply two binomials? What does that mean? Do you know how to multiply these? If you do, pause the video and multiply them, and then see if you get the same thing I get. Okay, so to multiply x plus 2 times x plus 3, binomial times a binomial. Some of your teachers may have taught you in algebra to use the FOIL method, first outside, inside, last. I always teach it just the distributive property. So whatever's in this parentheses has to be multiplied by everything in this parentheses. So I start here, x is multiplied by x and gives me x squared. X is multiplied by 3, positive x, so that's plus 3x. So this has been multiplied by everything here. Now I'm going to multiply this term by everything in this parentheses. So positive 2 times positive x plus 2x. Positive 2 times positive 3 plus 6. This is the product of these two binomials being multiplied. So these are factors. This is the product. We do need to simplify this. These are like terms, so we can simplify that. 3x's plus 2x's, 5x's. So this is the product. These are the factors. Factors are things you multiply together to get a product, okay? So we are going to be doing the reverse of this. They're going to give us a product, and we have to write the factors. So the first thing, there's a nice little strategy, step by step, makes it super easy. We've got a trinomial, x squared plus 7x plus 12. Anytime you're factoring something, the first step is always to see, is there a greatest common factor? That means, is there a number, a factor in each of these terms that we could pull out, we could factor out? There's an x in this term, an x in this term, but not an x in this term. So while x is a factor of both of these terms, it would have to be in all three terms to factor it out. There are factors of 12, or 1 and 12, 3 and 4. Factors of 7x, 1 and 7, and x. No common factors for all three terms. So while we need to check that out, we don't do anything with that on this problem. The next thing we're going to do is multiply the first and last term and write the answer on the top of the x. And I just multiply the coefficient on that first one. So 1 times 12, that's the product of the first and last numerical parts of the term. And the other thing is we put the middle term on the bottom. So include the sign. Plus 7 means it's a positive 7. So this is a little strategy that helps us get ourselves organized before we actually come up with factors for this trinomial. Okay, so what are these side things for? Well, on the sides, we're going to write the factors of the top number that equal the middle number. You can pause the video here and write this part down. You do need this part in your notes. Okay. So pause it, write it down, and then pick it up. I'm going to keep going. All right, so to know the factors of 12, that if you add them equals 7, that's what this means. So 12, factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. So if we add any of these pairs of factors, do we get a 7? So it is important that we consider the signs here. This is a positive 12. This is a positive 7. We know the only way to get a positive number when we're multiplying is 2 negatives or 2 positives. The signs have to be the same. Since this number is positive, we know all these things are going to be positive, right? So if we multiply these, we get 12, right? But what do we get when we add them? Well, 1 plus 12 is 13. That's not the same as our bottom number. 2 plus 6 equals 8. That's not the same as our bottom number. 3 plus 4, that is the same as our bottom number. So these are the factors we're going to put on the sides here, 3 and 4. Okay. Now we're going to set up 2 sets of parentheses. That just means give yourself 2 empty parentheses. And then write the first term without the power. The first term is x squared, so we're going to write x here, and it says in front of each parentheses, the front spot, x and x. Now we're going to write the numbers from the side of our x. In this case, it's 3 and 4. Make sure you look at the signs. The signs tell you whether there's going to be a plus or a minus in here. So you do need to put this in your notes, so you can pause the video and copy that in your notes and then pick it back up. I'm going to go ahead and keep going. So it says write the numbers from the sides of your x at the back of each parentheses. Well, 3 is positive 3, so that's plus 3. 4 is positive 4, so that's plus 4. So x plus 3 and x plus 4 are factors of this trinomial they gave us. Now, we should be able to check it, and to check it, all we do is multiply them. I'm only going to check this one, but you should remember how to check it. On the test, you can make sure you've got the right answer. So if I multiply x plus 3 times x plus 4, I should get what they asked us to factor. So let's do it. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x, and both of them are positive. 3 times x, positive 3x, so plus 3x. And 3 times 4 is 12. So we're going to combine the x's. We have x squared, 4x's plus 3x's is positive 7x's plus 7x, and bring our constant down. So this is the same as that, so we know that these are the correct factors. Okay? I do want you to check in your notes. The rest of them we're not going to check, but you should know how to check them. Okay. Following the steps. Multiply first and last. Gives us 27. The middle number, don't forget, that's a negative, so it's going to be a negative here. So now I'm looking for the factors that if I multiply them, they give me a positive 27. But if I add them, they give me a negative 12. So remember we said possible signs for a positive answer would be plus, plus, or negative, negative. The only way to get a negative here is to have a negative. So we're going to list the factors of 27, 1 and 27, and 3 and 9. But we know that they both have to be negative. So negative 1 plus negative 1 times negative 27 equals positive 27. Negative 3 times negative 9 equals positive 27. So now we're going to check. Remember, these side numbers have to be the factors that when you add them, you get negative 12. So negative 1 plus 27 is negative 28. That's not negative 12. Negative 3 plus negative 9, that is negative 12. So now we know that our factors that go on the sides here are negative 3 and negative 9. The next step says give yourself, set up 2 sets of parentheses. Look at the first term and write that in both spots here without the exponents. Now we take these 2 and put them at the back, noting the sign here. Negative 3 means it's minus 3. Negative 9 means it's minus 9. And we could have put minus 9 here and minus 3 here. It would not matter. So these are the factors of x squared minus 12x plus 27. All right. 1 times 9 goes in the top. Middle number, the coefficient on that middle term is negative 6. So I'm looking for factors that I multiplied to get 9 and that add to get negative 6. Best strategy, I think, is writing the factors of that top number. Now, once again, this is a positive, so it's going to be positive, positive, or negative, negative. Since this one's a negative, now we know they both have to be negative. The only way to get a negative, you can add two numbers together, is have at least one of them negative. So they're both going to be negative. So negative 1 times negative 9 is positive 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, so that part is true. Now if we add them, negative 1 and negative 9 is negative 10. That is not my bottom number there. Negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6. That matches my number, so now I know these go on the side. And you can double check your math. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6. So now all I have to do is stick it in the parentheses. Set up your parentheses. This without the exponent goes in the first spot. The two side numbers go here. Okay, so that is a correct answer. You could also write this as x minus 3 squared, right? Because we're multiplying that x minus 3 by itself. Either answer is correct. One is not more correct than the other. Once again, 1 times 3, 3. Middle number, negative 4. Factors of 3 are only 1 and 3. This is a positive, this is a negative, so once again we know we need two negatives. So negative 3, negative 1, and negative 3. You might think, oh well, this has got to be right, so we're just going to stick them in there. But some trinomials are not factorable, so it's always a good idea to double check. Negative 1 times negative 3 obviously is positive 3, but what if we add them together? Negative 1 plus negative 3, that does equal negative 4, right? So now we know negative 1 and negative 3 are the factors that if you multiply them, you get positive 3. If you add them, you get negative 4. Fill in our parentheses. This goes in the front. These sides go behind. I'm going to do them in the opposite order just so to remind you it doesn't matter which one I put first. All right. One more. Actually, we're going to do two more. 1 times 49 goes in the top. Middle term goes in the bottom. Looking for the factors. If you multiply them, they equal 49. If you add them, they equal 14. Two pairs of factors for 49. 1 and 49, 7 and 7. These are both positive, so we know both of our factors are going to have to be positive. So 1 times 49 is 49. 1 plus 49 is 50. That is not what's on the bottom. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 plus 7 is 14. That is what we need. So we're going to take this and put it on the side. So we're ready, we're organized, we know what we've got to plug into our parentheses. Set up your parentheses. The first term without the exponent goes in the front of both. This is a positive 7, plus 7, plus 7. Or, once again, you could write it as x plus 7 squared. Either of those are correct. All right, so after second period did their assignment, I realized I talked about this with my other classes, but we didn't do an example. This is a little bit different because this is a plus and this is a minus. Our top number is going to be 1 times negative 21, so it's going to be a negative. Our middle number is a positive. And this works if they're both negative here, it's the same strategy. So negative 21 goes in the top, middle number is 4. So now the only way to get a negative number, one of your numbers has to be positive and one has to be negative. So that's what's going to have to be the signs of our factors that go here. We know one's going to be positive and one's going to be negative. So the factors of 21 we can just list. So 21, 1 and 21, and 3 and 7. how do I know which one is positive and which one is negative? I know we need one of each. Right, because it's negative 21. So if I do 1 minus 21, that would make them negative 21. It would be negative 20. If I make the 21 positive and the 1 negative, 21 minus 1 is a positive 20. Neither of those work. Okay. 1 times, we need a positive and a negative. Here, if I have 1 negative and 1 positive, I would get my negative. So where does it go? Well, if I do 3 minus 7, that's going to make 3 the positive and 7 the negative. And that would give me negative 4, right? But I need a positive 4. So what if I switch that? What if 3 is negative and 7 is positive? Now I have a positive 4, and so I have the correct factors. So this is a negative minus 3. This is a positive plus 7. And now, same thing. Still in our parentheses. That goes in the first spot. Plus 7 minus 3. And that's it. All right, I'll see you guys when I see you.